Hi, hang on a second. So you got that. Welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. You're going to be seeing this on January 7th, Friday of 2022. So for those of you who saw my last videos that came out on Tuesday, they were sort of overviews of 2022. It really felt sort of almost like the first 6 months of 2022 for both the United States and Canada. So if you didn't receive a notification on that or haven't had time, I encourage you to go back and check it out. It was really kind of good news readings for both countries. So that's a lovely, lovely thing. I'm not anticipating this reading to be quite so much of a good news reading for the Trump family. Now, for the rest of us, I think it may very well end up being a good reading. But for the Trumps, I feel like this could be an even worse year than the last one. So, and frankly, the 2 and 3 before that weren't all that great either. Okay. So, I'm going to take a look at Donald Trump. I'm going to take a look at the kids. So, some interesting stuff, right? Attorney General James has issued subpoenas for Ivanka and Don Jr. This is part of the criminal investigation into the Trump organization. Hi, Nova. Are you wanting to just wish everybody a Happy New Year? Come here. Say hi. Down. Good boy. So there's that. Donald Trump is suing her, saying that she's, too nosy. That's not going to go well. There apparently, earlier this week, there was news about a memo that had been drafted by Trump. He was wanting seizure of all election materials. From 2020, I guess he just really didn't like the results of that election. So there's like more and more that's coming out. The select committee has honestly way more information than we even can imagine. And for the people on the committee, it's been very sobering because, you can sit from the outside and look at it and think, wow, things are really getting screwy around here. But when you get information, when you get that inside track information and you realize the degree to which the country was literally almost lost to a coup by a deranged man, in my opinion, and his followers. That's scary, okay? And I think that that's part of, what the people on that committee are really trying to wrap their head around, and by extension are trying to make sure that when their report comes out, and frankly along the way a little bit here and there, they get that message out that this was not just something to be casual about. It was like really, really serious. So, let's just take a look, shall we, and see how they are doing. I don't imagine they had a lovely Christmas. I don't even know where they are. I'm assuming some or most of them could have been in Florida. I don't really know. In some ways, it's very nice to not... that was the Four of Wands. I'll pick it up in a second. To not sort of have them bombarding our senses day in and day out and day in and day out. Whoa. Okay, so I'm really dropping stuff. That is the Queen of Swords. All right, hold on. Let me bend down and get them. Hang on. So interesting. Underneath the Queen of Swords was the Strength card. And so, let's put some confidence in women of the law. I'll say it that way. Or laws that pertain to women or actions around women. I've long said that that the women who take the woman, or that card that always seems to be bringing Trump down, I've always seen it as a collective, not a specific person. I think there are individual people who are making massive headway, and massive number of women who are making incredible headway in terms of the Trump family and investigating them, bringing the law to bear, etc. But I've never seen it as just one person, in part because it's not one area that he's corrupt in. It's every area. It's every area. So therefore, you almost need a collective of women who in different areas are targeting different areas. Let's see, shall we? Come on down. I have a question. Okay, here we go. A couple more quick. We're looking at Trump and the Trump family going into 2022 and how things are going to be for them. So that subpoena issued by James, she had also subpoenaed Eric, and Eric testified in, I believe it was October. So I don't think that they're going to be able to actually get away with like completely ignoring this thing or putting it off. We'll see. Okay, Trump family 2022. Trump family 2022. Trump and family 2022. Okay. So this is the thing, right? They're going to have more legal issues, concerns, etc., in the coming year. It's going to look, or it's going to make the previous year or two actually look like it was kind of a slow day at the courthouse. Okay, the law's coming after him, and it's coming after him in a variety of ways. It's coming after him personally. It's coming after him in terms of the presidency. It's coming after him in terms of the corporation. It's coming after the children, the spawns, because they were part of running that corporation. They had their fingers in all the pies. They knew what was going on. There are people that they have always counted on as a family to stand behind them, to stay with them, to keep their secrets. And some of those people are saying, this is not going to bode well for me. And so I'm afraid I need to start taking care of myself as opposed to putting the Trump family and their needs first. They're actually going to be losing some of the support, whether that is within the corporation, whether that is politically, but there's going to be a shifting of attitudes about supporting them. And as more and more information comes out, more and more people are going to be facing this really difficult decision about, them or me, right? The more they investigate the money, the more they follow the money, the more they follow the trust. And you know what? This is not only about him, but it's about them, and it's about people associated or affiliated with them. So perhaps some of those politicians who engaged in some hanky-panky shenanigans when it came to money or assets, it feels like they also are going to have to start making some decisions. I mean, partnerships, people they were in partnerships, people they counted on, depended on. A lot of those people are going to start shifting. And the reason is that slowly but surely, there's this kind of awareness that he no longer has the pull that he used to have, that he no longer is able to command and simply get results because he is, the prez, or because of his name, or because of his clout. He's not going to be rendered impotent just yet. But he's definitely starting to recognize that there's more people abandoning him than jumping on ship that are coming to help him. And he's starting to, again, face the fact that his words just don't seem to have the power that they once had, except, of course, for those, the sycophants, right, who, the Mark Meadows of the world who wrote a book and Donald Trump said the book is a lie, so Mark Meadow comes out and says, yeah, my book is full of lies. I mean, come on. So there's that sort of, but beyond that, it's really starting to pull away. He is also starting to pay a price for the fact that he on and on and on about the vaccine and don't get it, blah, 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 and then he's had it. And every time he mentions it, he gets booed. And those roosters are kind of coming home to roost, if you will. And I'm not sure how or why, but it's just a feeling like he's going to start paying some price for all of the smoke, for all of the illusions, for all of the lies. I suspect it's because slowly but surely that information is going to come out. And again, we always say that, the people that follow Trump are, Fox News believers. They are, the other couple of media organizations that are so far right, it's almost not comprehensible. But my point is that as and let's not forget that whole little tour he did before Christmas was horrible, right? I mean, I'm sure they lost money because they sure as heck didn't make money when like a third or a quarter of the seats per venue were sold and everything else was empty. And then he tells people he got his booster shot and now they're booing at him. And by the way, kudos to Biden for flat out putting it out there. I heard, former, I don't know what he called him. I don't know what he referred to him as, because I'm sure he sure as hell didn't say President Trump. But he's got his booster, and I think he said, and that's one of the one things I think that we can both agree on, or something like that. And so he put it out there, and Trump, really kind of followed along, going, yeah, I had my booster, and then people booed. And again, as information comes out about January 6th, and people are going to start going, wait a minute. He's not supporting the people who risk their lives, not the people who actually risk their lives trying to protect the country, but from their perspective, the people who were part of that insurrection, that coup attempt. We risked our lives, we've risked our reputations, we're now in legal trouble. He's nowhere to be found. As that sort of sentiment also expands and grows. And, lately, the prison terms, the sentences that are coming out are far more severe than the initial ones because, of course, the crimes are more serious. And so, again, there's people watching this going, wait a minute now. This person is not behaving like that leader, that strong man that he told us he was. So there's a lot of that coming down the pike for him. He's going to be defending himself, but you know what? In some ways, I had to say, it feels as if it's honestly going to be falling on deaf ears. It very much feels like he is going to be sort of saturated. That's the feeling I'm getting. Saturated with betrayal. Saturated with people turning their back on him. Saturated with recognizing that he no longer has the pout or the power that he did, except for a small number of people in the United States. On the video I released earlier in the week, I was talking about the fact that 73% of the United States has received at least one of their vaccinations. So that leaves, I'm going to say 23, 24, maybe even 25%, because there are those people who truly, they're being told by their doctors, listen, your immune system is compromised or whatever it is, you can't get that shot just yet. Let's see if they come up with something, the pill, something that maybe your system will be able to handle, but for right now, they're being told not to, and that's fair. But for the other 25% or so, they're kind of the problem, and more you're going to see those people who are now paying the price, because honestly, it's not the people who have their double vaccines and have their boosters who are, are catching the Omicron variant. If they're getting it, it's so mild. It's the people who listen to the lies. And their anxiety is going to be ratcheted up. And that family is going to be paying the price. Make no mistake, they are worried. They are scared. There is sleepless nights. And they're starting to recognize that their defenses aren't very strong. The defenses aren't protecting them. In some cases, they're actually really creating an antagonistic sort of energy around them, certainly with the courts, where this foolish nonsense is being, trucked into the courts by the truckload of nonsense. And so it really does feel as if the pressure is really, really starting to build. And listen, we know that makes Senior like crazy, right? He's irrational and over-emotional at the best of times, and now it feels as if he is just blindly lashing out in every direction. Interesting, I just had a visual of Melania sort of walking out of a room and very firmly closing the door behind her. She's not going to leave him until he is completely demolished, I believe. But it definitely feels like more and more she is closing the door on him. She doesn't listen to him. She doesn't want to be around him. She doesn't anything. They very much are two people who live in many ways like two separate realities. And she is in a protective mode. She is in a mode of doing whatever it is she needs to do for herself, whatever she needs to do to secure herself. So there's that Queen of Swords and there's that Strength card. So, and here's the Page of Cups. Okay, so what you have is more information coming out from legal venues that are strong. They're complete. We waited and waited, and what's the holdup, and why is this taking so long? It took so long because there was a lot of I's to dot and a lot of T's to cross, and a lot of things not to double check, but to triple check, quadruple check, because of who they're going after, and frankly, the political clout that he, to some degree, still has. But the news he continues to get is bad. It gets worse and worse and worse. I know that Andre of Astrology Alert has these little chart things, and it looked, if I remember correctly, like 2022 and 2023 are going to be absolutely horrendous for that guy, and so that's going to be very interesting to just see as that plays out, because what's coming after him is not coming after him, and by him I mean and the family, willy-nilly. It is not uncoordinated. It is systematic. It is detailed. And there is very, very little wiggle room. So honestly, all they have to work with right now, all they can do is to try to delay everything, right? Muck up the works, like file counter lawsuits, do this, do that. But the reality is that it's not going to get them, frankly, as far as they think it's going to go. And in some cases, that continued obstructionist behavior is really, really going to start impacting them in really negative ways. So they're not going to be able to continue to kind of juggle. And it also feels very much that as far as Trump goes, as Donald goes, he's having, it feels like, more and more trouble sort of juggling or balancing some of the the crazy in his life. The messaging isn't good. Okay. He himself is recognizing that there's this spiral going on. There's a lot of fighting going on and squabbling going on within the family. He's yelling at all of his advisors who are still stupid enough to be around him. But part of the reason he's acting out that way is because he sees it slipping through his grasp. He just doesn't have the power to grip it anymore. And he doesn't have, he doesn't have another play. I mean, what did I say? He's like that run trick pony, right? He's that guy who just believes that everything he does is always right because he believes it. And judgment is coming, and the information coming out around those judgments is going to be incredibly unflattering to him, and by extension, his family. And so it very much feels as if a lot of the shenanigans and this is not just because of the White House stuff. This is like also, and in some ways, equally important pertaining to his businesses and the corruption therein. Because let's face it, that is where he is most likely going to be able to get really, really held to task. Even though we don't all think that that's fair. There's some things that he did that were so horrendous. The word traitor is not overused, or would not be too big an exaggeration. But part of it is, I guess however you have to get him, right? And the people that are coming after them have more tricks up their sleeves. There's so much that we don't know that they know that, honestly, they're not going to stand a chance. And beyond that, it's really just looking like other agencies, other organizations, other alphabets, right? FBI, CIA, whatever it is, AG for this state, AG for that city, whatever it is, they're working together. And where they can. And so there's a lot of overlapping of material, or there's a lot of, I have a big hole right here. Oh, and here comes that piece of the puzzle from ABC, right? 1, 2, 3, whoever it is. So there's that going on. Yeah. You know what? It doesn't matter. There's the women. Women are going to bring them down. I've always said that. So have pretty much everybody else. Doesn't matter how he tries to spin it. Doesn't matter how he tries to twist it. It doesn't matter what perspective he thinks is the right one. There is grief coming to him. There is loss coming to him. And it's not going to be a very pleasant year for the people, frankly, whether that is family or employees, right, for the Trump organizations. And it's also going to be equally difficult for people who affiliated with him politically. Don't be surprised. They're saying that this year could bring some really significant, I almost want to use the word restructuring, but that's not quite the right word. Like what I'm getting is that literally they're already starting to liquidate, right? Because I don't have any money. But things like literally that umbrella company, that Trump org, that could actually end up somehow getting shut down. Whether that is by the law or whether that's done by the Trump family. But there's definitely like some really hard hits that are going to take place in 2022 for that family as things roll out. So, as I said, probably not a great reading for them, but probably a pretty reassuring one for the rest of the world. Thank you very, very much for being here. I ask you again to just double check, make sure that you're subscribed, make sure the notification bell is on. I read all your comments. I thank you so much for them. The subscribes, the thumbs up, it's all great. I really, really do appreciate it. And I thank you so much for being here today. And I hope to see you again next week. And don't forget, on Saturday morning, the Pick Your Crystal reading will come out. Until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.